I'm Dr. Cindy Davis Evans with The Cindy Davis Show. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Andre Pittman of Enthroned Records. My guest today is 1970s Grammy Award winning R&B group known for timeless hits like Let's Just Kiss and Say Goodbye and Shining Star. Welcome to the show, the legendary Manhattans. All right. So welcome to the show, everyone. I got Gerald, Mr. Newton, and I got Troy. How's everybody doing?
Great. How you doing?
All right. Good to have you here. So how has it been touring and singing with Gerald Alston?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
The first couple of years, like the first few years or so, you sing, you realize you're singing with an icon. So you learn from them as much as you possibly can, and I admire it. And as time gone on, we've grown as brothers. We all love each other. Now look at him as my big brother out there doing his thing, and he does it well.
Amazing.
He get on my damn.
Do tell. What?
Listen, when I tell you I am having the time of my life.
Yeah.
And Gerald is a storyteller. He always got stories to tell. And they're good. I'm telling you, it never ends. Listen, in all of the years I've been in this business, and I'm telling you, I've met a lot of people and a lot of nice people. Believe it or not, a lot of folks think that entertainers, they're not approachable and stuff like that. But this is the best, honest to God, this is the best situation that I've been in, and honestly, and I've been around some really nice people, some really nice, Patty LaBelle, nicest person in the world. People Bryson, nicest cat in the world. A lot of nice people. But I'm telling you, Gerald is a prince. Now, having said that, he is always messing with me. He be messing with me. I'm only joking.
You say he's always got a story to tell. Can you share one at least?
Oh man, don't start him.
Oh boy, let me see. 3 years I've been with the group, and we've had some doozies. I'll tell you a funny one. And this was many years ago. We were on a promotional tour with promotion gentleman by the name of Bob Riley. And he is the true reason for Kiss and Say Goodbye being as big as it is. It was a hit record, definitely. The song sold itself as well. But he showed us how to sell ourselves. So at any rate, we were doing a promotional tour. We were in Knoxville, Tennessee. And at the last minute, we found out we had to go to St. Louis be in St. Louis the next day. So we performed in Knoxville, jumped in the van, drove to St. Louis, got to St. Louis, checked in the hotel, took showers, got back in the car, went to the radio station. And after we got to the radio station, Bob said, well, guys, we have to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
We were playing in Milwaukee later that night. So we left the radio station. We went to a high school, signed autographs, jumped on a plane and flew to Chicago and did a TV show in Chicago. Flew back from Chicago. In fact, their show was Soul Train, I believe. That's when Soul Train was being broadcasted out of Chicago. And I mean, out of, Chicago. And then we came back to St. Louis to do another event, ran to the airport, got on the plane, and flew to Milwaukee on Ozark Airlines. Never heard
of them.
Never heard of it. As soon as the plane landed, all the landing gear on one side blew out. And the plane turned around in the middle of the runway. So it was cool, landed to stop. And so the pilot came on and said, we need all women and children off first. And I heard somebody, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Could you excuse us, please? And that was Blue and Bob Riley passing everybody. And literally said to themselves, the hell with the women and children.
Oh my goodness.
When we got to the game, finally got to, they were in the terminal asking us, well, what took you all so long to get off? That was one that I'll never forget.
My God. Oh my goodness. I was saddened to hear about the passing of Dave Harvey Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah. My condolences to him and the family and the group. So, wow. How long had he been with you? And can you tell us about y'all's relationship?
Dave and Troy were just about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And been with us about the same number of years. And unfortunately, a year ago, this past February, Dave passed away. He had a seizure and he became unresponsive. He's never recovered. But Dave was a character, Troy. You want
to talk about stories?
Troy, you have any stories to tell?
Dave? Or oh my God. I have plenty of stories, but unfortunately, the language involved may not be suitable for your show.
Okay.
Bro, you got to tell them about the slide on the ship.
Oh my God. We did the Tom Joyner cruise, and me and him decided to go get on the slide. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the cruise ship. It's got the big yellow slide and spin all the way around. Brings you all the way down.
Oh yeah.
Him and I went over to the slide, and it was lined up with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
He pushed past all the kids. Excuse me, pardon me, just like
oh my goodness.
Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, just to get to the front of the line. Climbed all the way up the ladder, got all the way to the top, pushed all the kids to the side. And I'm standing there looking at it, Dave, why are you pushing these kids to the side? So he gets up there. I'm waiting for him at the bottom.
Yeah.
And he jumps down. Geronimo! Spinning around. He gets to the bottom. He finally slides all the way to the bottom, and his swimming trunks were at his ankles. Now he's standing there completely naked. And all the kids were standing there, and they all threw their chin up and were laughing their brains out. So that was hilarious. He immediately jumped and tried to snatch his shorts up, but by that time everybody was too busy laughing. So.
Oh my goodness!
For pushing past all those kids.
There you go. See, that's what you get for doing that.
Exactly.
That is so wild. Speaking of cruises, y'all have one coming up in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Soul Train cruise coming up?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what do you have to do to prepare for that cruise? Safety wise.
You have to be ready, because that cruise is off the chain. Some of the, it goes back to the groups of the 70s, but everybody step on that ship, be ready. So you just have to have your ducks in a row. Right, Weez?
and take your Dramamine. If you got motion sickness, don't play. Take it.
Yeah,
that's right. Take it anyway.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Take it.
I heard they put you through some type of training or whatever, for survival training before you get on the cruise. Is that right?
Well, they do that with every cruise. So, they require that you, depending on where your cabin is, you meet with a group of people in the vicinity of your cabin. Yeah. And they put you to, they give you the little training thing, what to do in case of an emergency. How to put on your preserver and so forth.
Yeah, all that stuff too. Yeah, I am familiar with that. But I was under the impression that that y'all had to go through some kind of safety thing before you even got on the cruise. Like you had to know how to swim. No? Oh, okay.
And this is where Soul Train Cruise is where I met a certain friend, Mr. Newton.
Right.
What's about
so if anybody would know, he would know.
I did one of the cruises by myself. Yeah. And at least I did the gospel show by myself. And Weezer's group did the backup for me. Now, what in Weezer? Do I put Hugo or what? I don't know what name to call it, guys.
It's the UGO stands for the Urban Guerrilla Orchestra.
Right.
Okay. So UGO is what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they backed me up, and they were cooking with gas too, boy. No, we stayed in touch.
Uh-huh.
And he can tell you what happened, how he managed to get with the guys.
So here's the story goes. So Gerald's wife Edna, the boss, she calls me about some clothing stuff because Gerald was stealing my clothes. He was coming down to Philly and stealing my clothes because his wife is originally from Philly, so he was down here stealing stuff. So anyway, at one of the shows when they had Gerald. That's right, y'all had replaced Dave with what's the guy's name? Gordine? Was that him?
Hey, Jerome Gordine.
Yeah, Jerome Gordine.
Yeah. So I was sitting with Edna at the soundboard, and she was up there, like she do. She up there with a shoe in her hand, critiquing the show, talking about, look at it, look what he got, look how he got that jacket on, and look how everything's buttoned up. And she was going on and on, and she was wearing his behind out. So I was just sitting there going, just taking the notes. Yeah. So what happened was we had a conversation. Edna called me about some other clothing stuff, but her and Gerald apparently had talked. So, Gerald, had y'all talked to Henry before Edna called me?
No, because we called you to get the information.
Yeah. So anyway, when I was talking to Edna on the phone, and she was talking about these dates and what's going on. So I said to Edna, listen, well, let me see what dates I could cover for you. You know what I mean? Till y'all can get somebody to do this thing right. Okay. So I'm talking to her on the phone. The next thing I know, I got drafted like I was going into the
military.
No, hey, Troy, like the mafia. It was more like the mafia.
Oh,
it was the mafia. Because wait a minute. So Cindy, listen. I'm sitting we're in the suite after the first show, the very first show I did, and we're sitting in the suite. And Edna says, well, come to the suite. So I want to introduce you to the guys that you don't know. Okay, so I come. I'm sitting in the chair and I'm listening. Edna does this speech. And the next thing I know, I look around and I said, well, I guess you must be talking about me. And I guess I must be in the group. I get up. I get up to me. And wait a minute. Now, Troy is a prankster. But the rest of them jokers, they hugged and kissed me like I was a made man in the mafia.
Oh, my goodness.
It wasn't no getting out of it. Then I said, wait a minute. I was coming. I was just going to help out. I was going to help out. That's what I was doing. Yeah. I was helping out.
You got drafted.
I got drafted.
Oh, my goodness. That is amazing.
The next thing I knew, I was in rehearsal getting shoes thrown at me.
And Troy psyching you every day.
Every day. And see, Troy would get me because Troy he's a jokester. And the first couple of times, I was all sincere about it. And I always had to pause. So then every time he says something to me after that, I have to pause first before I respond. And then I look at him later. Damn it, he got me again. Between him, listen, Cindy, him and Gerald got about 19 names for me. Every week I get a name. When you heard him say, listen, when you hear him say 13, he used to bust on me so bad about my phone. Oh, Lord, he talked about me so bad about my cell phone. He talked about me so bad. He said, I had an iPhone and it was an older one. It was a 7. So Gerald got a little 14. So yeah, he got a 14. So what happened when I got the new phone, he said, oh, Edna, he got a little 13. So he started calling me 13. Then he started got so many names. Look, we ain't got enough time for all the names he didn't get.
Oh my goodness. That is it's like y'all have so much fun on the road.
Yeah, it is a wonderful time.
What is the most song that is requested the most? What is
Wow. It would have to be, well, the two biggest songs we had, Kiss and Say Goodbye and Shining Star. We cannot leave the stage without, if you go on stage and don't sing one of those, you're going to have a problem. We'll have a serious problem.
Wow.
You know, in different areas.
I can only imagine.
We were an album selling group. So a lot of our songs we sing appreciated and loved by all of our audiences.
Yeah.
And There's No Me Without You is one of the big ones. We Never Dance to a Love Song, you know. So it varies.
Why do you think those two songs are so well requested?
There's No Me Without You speaks to lovers.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks about a person loving their spouse so much, and they realize that they didn't want to exist. So there's no me without you. And we even use it as our I would say I say motto, but it's theme. That's what I was looking for, the word theme. And we sing it for the audience, for the production staff that comes in and set up the stage, and to our fans, to radio personalities, to everybody, because we wouldn't have existed 61 years if it wasn't for you all. So that's one reason we sing it, and we explain it to our fans.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I love that. You have a new single out. Well, your latest single is What About You?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what was the inspiration behind that song?
Was written by myself, Troy, and our keyboard player Colt. And and Troy and I, believe it or not, wrote our parts the same way. I was at the studio with Colt, and he said, I got a song. And he said, all I have is What About You? And his wife sang the lyric, what about you? What about you? And then he said, just sing what you feel. Mm-hmm. I started singing the song, and it came out basically lyric for lyric the way it is now. And when Troy came and heard it, he said, man, I could add something to this. So he made a monologue to it. And he didn't write it down, he just came out.
Wow.
And the song is about a spouse being hurt, or by her lover or his lover. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to trust anybody. They find somebody else, but they're afraid to trust in them anymore because they're afraid they'll be hurt. And the song's about telling them that, look, I'm not that person that hurt you, and I will never hurt you. I will love you with all my heart. But what about you?
Oh,
yeah.
I got it.
I give you all I got. So what about you?
Normally, when y'all write songs, what comes first, the music or the lyrics, under normal circumstances, over the years?
Over the years, it varies.
Yeah, it's hard to depend.
Sometimes an idea come and you have a melody in your head, when you just sing it. It comes various ways. You may be reading something or hear something on the news or in a movie, and you say, wow, that'll make a great song.
Yeah.
Troy and Louise.
Yeah, there's no degree of normalcy to it. It can happen in any kind of way.
Yeah.
You'll either write it down or you'll hear the notes in your head. You'll play it on the keyboard, and somebody else will add the lyrics, and it'll just come together that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people's writing formulas vary. It depends on the day, the hour, and the mood. And the mood. Some people really good when they. Some people write good when they're sad. So it's all of those things. It's all of those. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What keeps you going? Okay, so Gerald, what keeps you going? You've been doing this for years. You've been doing this for so many years.
It's the love. Mm-hmm. I've been singing all my life since I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
And I've always loved singing. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. When I started college, I was going to medical school after I finished.
Wow.
A few years in college, 4 years in college. But I realized that singing
Singing.
It's healing too.
Yeah. And when I met the Manhattans, that was an opportunity that would come once in a lifetime. This industry is so hard to get into as a new artist.
Yeah.
Unless you come in with somebody like the Manhattans, or unless you know somebody else or a different situation to get in. It's very difficult to get in and make a career out of it.
Wow, yeah. How do y'all feel about the music of today?
Yeah, go ahead, Troy. You got it. Wheeze.
Well,
Sure.
I personally don't listen much to the radio. There's a lot of great artists out there. But I guess I'm more into old school than the new school. And I've always believed that when you write a song as opposed to a tune, a song will last forever. A tune will last as long as I'm finger popping.
Yeah.
And, I love songs more so than I like tunes. And unfortunately, today you hear a lot of tunes. Yeah. 2 or 3 years from now, you won't hear those songs anymore.
Yeah. Beats and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. Yeah. I wanted to cuss. When you first asked the question, I wanted to cuss, but I'm not gonna cuss. It's bad. But you know what? There is some saving graces with people we met. And Gerald, I was saying this to you. I think I said it to Troy too. It's funny, we've been done this Southern Soul tour. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And some folks I meet, it's what they do reminds me of what country and Western genre does. They put themselves together. Like when I first started, it was about you get the musicians together, y'all rehearse, y'all go get a bus, station wagon or something and go to work. And they're still doing that 50 years later. They're still doing that. But when I went down south and I saw them, I was blown away because it is so organic and it is so true. They got their own following, radio personalities, mm-hmm. radio stations, promoters. When I look at that gave me such a good feeling because everybody wants to be, well, not everybody, but they try to make people talk about being relevant. I remember when Prince died, some clown, they asked this clown, I ain't gonna mention her name, did she think Sheila E. was relevant enough to speak about, to be able to have this position in the show? And I say, who are they asking these questions of? Who are these people? And they don't have a clue. So it's driven by people who have no clue about these record company. Well, it's no longer record company execs anymore, but these people who are in this business, they call themselves producers. They have a laptop. And when they say beats, let me tell you something funny. One of the things I was doing schools programs, and we went into a school and we did this program. And on that program was Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. They were on this program. And we were going past the one of the classrooms and the kids were behind us. And one of the kids said to the other kid, past the music room, they saw a drum set. And the kid said, that's what they used to make beats on. Can you?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm telling you, honest to God, he said, that's what they used to make beats on. And I'm telling you, it's hard for me not to just say the truth. I'm my mother's child. Listen. So it's what, and I'll say this as it relates to what I'm doing now and who I'm in association with. Listen, Gerald is a living icon. He is a living legend. Listen to me. Russell Tompkins Jr. is a friend of mine because he's from my neighborhood and like a lot of the Philly cats people I know. But he's one, when I met Gerald was so much like Russell because they were so humble. They would do 30 pictures or 30 signings like they had just done one after the show. And I said to Russell one day, I said, Russell, I got newfound respect for you because the show was over and we tired and sweating. And everybody wanted to take a picture. He took a picture with him. Everybody that wanted to sign, he signed. And being with Gerald is the same kind of way. He is so approachable by all people. Gerald, you remember the young girl that we met who has that iPod? I mean, that, that show? Sure, you know what I'm talking about, right? And I've been talking, I followed her show. There's a young lady, she just turned 21. All she plays is 60s, 70s, and 80s music. That's all she plays. Listen, y'all, I tried to stump this girl. I tried to give her songs. You know, this little young heifer came back. She said, no, it's so and so and so and so. It's so and so and so.
She knew everything. She knew all her stuff.
It's so true. And her mom and pop, we met her mother. We didn't meet her person. But every time her show comes on and I talk to her, and she said, Mom, he's here. And da. Because it's true. When she met Gerald, she was crying. You hear me? She was crying.
Yeah.
Because this is a 21 who just turned 21 years old.
Wow.
He met and looked in his face, and he was so gracious. The same thing. When we came back from South Africa, and I don't know if I told y'all this, there was a young lady who was from South Africa. She was 21, 22 years old. She was leaving South Africa to take a gig at Disney, to work at Disney, right? So we were helping her. You know, I said, well, you can come with us. You know, we'll ride together, come back to the States. You know, she told me she 1, 2, 3 generations of people in South Africa knew every word to every song of the Manhattans.
Oh,
and I went there, I was blown away. I was like, what? It was unbelievable. And that's the impact that this kind of music and these kind of people, see, Gerald is one of the last holding up the blood-stained flag. He one of the last of the Mohicans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He one of the last Mohicans. And I'm telling you, he Methuselah, but I'm telling you, he in there.
No, you did not say that.
Yes,
I had to get him. I had to get him.
I know
You had to get
it.
I had to get him.
That's the payback for 13. Huh?
I had to get him. I don't get him. Listen, because he fast. He fast.
Yeah.
He come back fast. but
that is so true.
In all sincerity, this is the most important thing for me that I've done in my life. I've done a lot of music with a lot of people. This is the most important because when I met that young lady from South Africa, and she told me it was 3 generations, and I got to see them. I saw those people at that show singing every word. Grown men were crying. You hear me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like we told you before we went. Yep.
Yeah. You know, that is so amazing to me. You know, somebody brought up a point on my website about how this generation, how most of this generation have never heard a black man sing a love song. All they've heard was rapping. You know, they've never heard a black man sing a love song. So, you know, what you're doing is just so relevant still after all these years, because they need to hear that. They need to know what real music is. Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
They do. It's timeless. It's timeless.
That's it. It's timeless.
The proof is in the pudding. That little young girl was 20 years old, and she was years because she met him.
That is amazing. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's beautiful. Yep. You know, speaking of Gerald being what they say an icon, Gerald, you recently received a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. How did that make you feel?
Actually, the ceremony is December 17th in Texas. And
Texas? What part of Texas?
Houston?
I'm in Houston.
I think it's Dallas. I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And but it's December 17th. And I was my Marshall Thompson of the Shy-Lights. He threw my name in the hat with Gene Chandler, and Gene and I will be in Dallas. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations. That is really an honor. So you feel honored. You've been bestowed with Grammy Awards. You've had the Enthroned Entertainment Hall of Fame Award. You've got the R&B Hall of Fame for your solo work in Detroit as well. How did that make you feel?
Wonderful. And we're going back. We're nominated as a group this time, and the event is September 24th.
For what nomination?
I think it's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, the Lifetime Achievement Award. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. I just would have one question to ask you, Gerald. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want people to remember about you?
I want people to remember me as a human being, one that love what I do, love people, love to bring smiles on their face,
Yeah.
make them reminisce, and remember that I was always humble, and I will always be humble to my fans till I close my eyes, and that this voice that I have is not given to me. It's not something I created, but it's given to me by God.
Absolutely.
I respect it to the highest.
What would be your legacy, you think?
I think my legacy would be my humbleness, the songs that I sing.
Yeah, your music.
The way that I tell the stories, and my life. I'm in the process of putting a book together about my life. And hopefully in about 3 years, we're looking at 3 years of having it completed totally.
Wow.
And that will be my legacy.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, I thank you all for being here and sharing your stories and making us laugh and reminisce. You are such a blessing to have this brotherhood together. I pray that you can continue and keep doing what you're doing and keep praising the Lord with what you're doing, you know, because like Gerald just said, it is him. It's all about him that gave us the gift.
That's it.
Amen.
Amen.
But I'm thankful for Weeze and Troy and for our musicians, East Coast Connection, Scotty, and Andre, and Tom, and Edna, because it takes this. We are family.
Yeah.
It takes all of us to make this work. It's no big eyes and no little U's. We all work together to make it happen. You know? And also Andre Pittman.
Yeah.
Give him a shout out. Andre is my man. And
Andre.
presented me with Lifetime Achievement Award for Enthroned, and I'm very thankful to him.
Yes, he is remarkable. He is about bringing people together and making things work, you know. So I love it. Thank you all for being here. And I want to thank you for watching the Cindy Davis Show. Until next time, God bless.